Hi there, everybody. Meteorologist Dante Jones here in the Dick Goddard Weather Center, and we have got to talk about, no doubt, what you've probably already heard, that we've got some severe weather that's on the way as we go through the course of the evening. Now, earlier today, the weather models had no idea of the timing and the placement of these storms. It was all over the place. One track had the storms coming across northeast Ohio in particular. Another track had it going across the western portions of Ohio. And then the timing was anywhere from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., one round, two rounds, it was all over. But as we got to about, I'd say 5:30ish, that they've all started to kind of congeal and come to some sort of consensus here, especially now that the storms had started to fire off by that time in the northern portions of the country and back into the Midwest. Not the storms that are south in the Dayton and Cincinnati area, but the northern storms is what we're looking at. And so they finally started to congeal and say, all right, we got a handle on what's going on, where the storms are going, and the time that they're going to get here. So much better handle on that now. And so we're going to run through that. And then behind the storms, we got some good heat coming our way. If you don't like it hot, you're not going to like the summer preview as we're in the last week of spring here and sort of giving us a preview of maybe what's to come. A lot of ups and downs in the forecast, and probably sort of what's to come this summer, where it's some hot temperatures, some cooler temperatures, hotter temperatures, cooler temperatures. So main gist of you and I's fireside chat here this evening will be about the storms that are coming in within the next few hours, and then they're out of here, and then we got to talk about the heat. All right, so let's get started. Let's basically what I just told you here, the rain and storms that are coming this evening. Best timing anywhere, say about maybe a half hour from now. Although that timing may have to be adjusted, may have to be pushed back. Our models, even though it was coming to a better consensus, it wasn't perfect. But we'll see what the model has to say here. And then the heat index around 100 by midweek. And then we're trending back to seasonable by the time we head towards late week and into your Father's Day weekend. Can you believe it already? It's about to be Father's Day. All right, so here's the big picture. Here's what we're looking at. So look down south towards the Cincinnati area. You see that green right there? That's a flood warning. That's in Butler County. Because these storms dropping a lot of rainfall as they come through. But see that bowing out segment, sort of how the storms are being pushed, if you will, down towards Cincinnati and then now down towards the southern portions of the state. What that means is there's a lot of wind with these storms. Some reports already coming in from southern Ohio of some trees down and some damage and things of that nature. So these storms are verifying as far as the wind threat goes. These are straight line winds. These aren't tornadic per se, although there was a tornado warning in Pike County. And so the tornado threat is a smaller threat, but it's not zero. But I know it's the common thing is to think, tornado, and if it's not tornado, I'm gonna just close my eyes and my ears and rule it out. We're talking about straight line wind damage with these storms, and the greater threat is here across northwestern Ohio. But straight line wind damage of 70, 75 plus miles per hour. That's hurricane force gusts. That is EF0 tornado type of gusts. And so when you look at those straight line wind damage over a wider swath than an actual tornado, it's enough to get your attention. So don't ignore this. Just because the tornado threat is the smaller threat, don't ignore it. The straight line wind threat is pretty important tonight. All right, you also might notice what are those sort of pinkish and reddish colors. That's the excessive heat watch for the southern and western portions of the state. That's going to be probably coming our direction by the time we head towards Wednesday and Thursday. And then just look off to the north and to the west towards Chicago. That's a tornado watch and a tornado warning around Chicago. So the tornado threat is secondary for us, but not zero. Probably a better chance in the northwestern portions of the state. There are some severe thunderstorm warnings already in northern portions of Indiana and southern Michigan. And I say that, and there's a severe thunderstorm watch for the northwestern portions of our state. And so I say that because these storms are gathering fuel as they get a little closer towards us. And so they will probably maintain their strength, if not get stronger. And so that'll make it a bumpy late night and into the overnight. So here's just another view of that, of what's going on down south. south of 70, moving into the southern portions of the state, some storms. But this is the batch that we're watching right here, south of Kalamazoo and South Bend, over towards Chicago. They're moving in. You see where those red polygons are, if you will. That's the general trajectory of these storms. So they're moving ever so closer towards the Toledo area, and eventually towards the Mansfield and things of that nature. So you'll see that when we talk about the futurecast. So just to kind of give you an overview of what we really look at when we're looking at some of the ingredients of severe weather as meteorologists, we like to use this to let you know that, all right, if some of these things are present, then we have a pretty good idea that severe weather, the ingredients of severe weather is there. Let's see if it actually comes to fruition. So, you know, you might have heard or seen the meme where you have all the ingredients for a taco, and so that would be a taco watch. And then if you actually put all the ingredients together, then that would be a warning. And so that's the same thing weather-wise, where the conditions are right. So with the atmospheric conditions being right, you'll have a watch. But then if they actually come together to form a storm, then that's when we pull the trigger for a warning. So right now we got some watches up north and west, and then once these storms form, and if they actually tap into this, then it becomes a warning. And so these are some of the things that we look at. If you got shear in the atmosphere, the higher up you go in the atmosphere, winds are turning in different directions, and sometimes they're going at different speeds. That allows the storms to turn, to rotate. And so with that, that's a good chance that some rotation could reach the ground, and even that the air that's going into the storm could start to rotate, and so that's increasing favorability for some tornadoes. Lift, so you need something to lift the air. A frontal boundary in an area of low pressure do exactly that. A front forces the air to rise. A low pressure, it's low pressure, so it sucks the air up. And then instability, warm surface temperature. So we've been in the 80s today, and our moisture, which is next, which is dew points, which is humidity. We had a lot of humidity in the atmosphere. So we've got all of these in play, although this is more of a straight line wind threat. So not as it may be unidirectional shear or just straight line shear as opposed to winds turning with height for the most part. But there could be some storms where you get the winds turning with height. That's just a little meteorological information for you, just to show that we got the ingredients in place. And here I'll run through the ingredients here for you. So there are the temperatures in the 80s right there: Mansfield, Worcester, Akron, Canton, New Philly, Youngstown. Now up by the lake, it's a little bit cooler. We got a lake breeze up there, so we're in the 70s by the lake. But the humidity, so that was the instability. So here's the moisture part, the M. Humidity in the dew points in the 70s and 60s, so that's very humid. If you look at the top there, it goes from very dry, which is kind of purple, to blue, and then oppressive, which is in the green. So we're in the green, so we're pretty muggy, so a lot of juice for the atmosphere to work with. And there's a warm front that's lifting just to our south, and so that's a frontal boundary that these storms like to ride upon, especially these type of storms where we call it a derecho, a serial derecho, where it kind of rides along a warm front where it's forcing that air to rise there. So you got your instability, you got your moisture, you got your lift and your shear there. Here's what it feels like. Right now, 8:42, it feels like it's 90 degrees in Akron, Canton, and New Philly, 88 in Worcester and Mansfield, 84 in Youngstown, 85 in Findlay. So still a lot of instability and a lot of moisture for these storms to work with as they start to barrel on through. The 8-hour forecast here, this is more, you have to pick one site, and so obviously the Cleveland is our site. So it says in the 70s. So I don't like this because we got the lake breeze. Just know that we'll be in the 80s for a lot of us. This, by the way, is what I'm talking about on Wednesday. Heat indices around 100, give or take, Wednesday and into Thursday. So 100 in Lorain is what it'll feel like, 103 in New Philly, 98 Cleveland, 99 Akron, Canton, 101 Ashtabula. So it's going to be a hot one on Wednesday, even as we get into Thursday. And then we get a front that comes through. Some showers and thunderstorms on Thursday start to cool us back down to seasonable levels by the time we get into Friday and into your Father's Day weekend. All right, here's the futurecast. This is what we're talking about. So here's the first round, if you will, of storms that could possibly come in around 9, 10 o'clock. And I don't know if this one will materialize. It's 8:45, and these storms should, if we look at the start off of this, the launching point of this, here's 9 o'clock, and we should see some storms already starting to fire up along around Port Clinton, over towards Erie, Huron counties, and we're not seeing that per se. And they move over towards the Cleveland metro about 10 o'clock or so. Now, here's where I'm a little bit more confident at, though, is this right here. So we get to about 11:30 midnight, and notice that line of storms that we're seeing coming in from the Chicago area up towards South Bend and what have you. See how they're starting to move in now towards Bowling Green, Tiffin, New London, Bucyrus, Mansfield, Worcester, and New Philly. So that's about midnight, 12:30 in the morning. So that I'm a little bit more confident in, and I'll show you in the severe threats graphic here that the National Weather Service is a little more confident in this solution as well, because that's where the biggest threat is. And notice though, we keep moving in time. There's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Look who's still getting hit with these storms: Mansfield, Worcester, New Philly, Canton, Medina, Bucyrus, Bellefontaine, Findlay, Tiffin. And so we keep seeing that until we get to about 4 o'clock in the morning, and we finally start to see those move off to the south. And the threat for northeastern Ohio, northern Ohio is over for the most part. There's still maybe a few stragglers, maybe around Richland, Ashland counties or so, but moving to the south. So first thing in the morning, mostly cloudy skies, maybe a stray sprinkle or a light shower around, but gradual sunshine as we go throughout the day. There's Tuesday, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and it's warmer. All right, so here are the threats. Here's the outlook. Now, look at that moderate that you see up at the top left. We hardly ever see that in Ohio. We hardly ever see the enhanced in Ohio. So this is that severe outlook that the Storm Prediction Center out in Norman, Oklahoma puts out with every storm system. And so we generally will be that 2 out of 5 or that slight risk, but the enhanced and the moderate we don't see often. So they have given that northwestern corner of the state under the moderate risk, because that's where you have the better likelihood of the gusty 70, 75 plus mile an hour winds, the isolated tornadoes, the hail and the heavy rain. Now the further out you get, it's probably not as likely, as the storms will start to die out a little bit, but they'll still pack a pretty good punch. So again, those threats, the gusty winds, we're talking straight line, but 70, 75 plus, that's going to not only do some damage to, maybe weakened structures, power lines, so you get some power outages, but some trees, some shrubbery, and again, that's just straight line. Now, if you get an isolated tornado, that's going to do even more damage to some areas there. And this is all happening at night. And so you want to have maybe some batteries in your alarm, I'm talking about your clock to wake you up in the morning. You might want to have some flashlights or things like that with some, and this is just in case the power goes out. I'm not talking doom and gloom like, the sky is falling, the whole state of Ohio is going to be, no, but this is just, we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't alert you to, hey, these are the conditions that could happen. These storms could reach those levels to where there's some sporadic power outages for a few hours, to where you may wake up and some things, some power has been out to some things. So you can just prepare yourself. If you need to bring anything inside that's out on the porch, out on the patio, or what have you, secure it. Just go ahead and do that now. This is the good time to do that. If you work third shift, if you're out and about, nighttime flooding with some of these torrential downpours, even the lowering visibility of itself with the heavy rainfall. Just a heads up that you could get into that. And so you don't know at night, especially, you don't know how deep any water is. So just the best advice is, if there are any kind of dips in the road that you know of on your way to work, to or fro, that you travel in the wee hours, just kind of think, okay, if those are flooded, any kind of creeks and rivers that flood easily, just kind of keep those in your mind and try to avoid those places. And as I mentioned before, these are little graphics just to kind of help us to remember and help you to remember anything that's outside, that's around the house, that's not tied down or brought inside. It might end up in your neighbor's yard or down the street, or I like to put here in Pennsylvania, because sometimes the winds just get really gusty and you can't find anything. So this is a good tracker here. This is called the Power Outage Futurecast. And so notice though, we get to about 8:30, 9 o'clock-ish or so, and notice where those yellows are. That's the sort of the greater chances of seeing some power outages. And this here is tracking right along with that model that says we could see about 8, 9 o'clock these storms coming into Erie, Huron counties, down towards Richland County and southward. Those haven't necessarily materialized just yet. But the general trend is, look at this, as we go into time, it moves eastward and southward of seeing those potential power outages. So this says by the time we get to 2 in the morning, it's over towards the Richland County area and then western Ohio, where those storms, that line that I just showed you is. And so by the time we get towards after 4 in the morning, that starts to fizzle out because the storms are out, and we're going to gradually improve as we go throughout the day on Tuesday. So this is not having a good handle. This is just general rain here at the precipitation futurecast. So this is just general stratiform rain. This isn't taking into account any thunderstorms that drop copious amounts of rain. So add this on top of any thunderstorms that add a lot of rainfall, you can get some flooding potential there. So 68 tonight, it's going to be a warm and muggy night. 86 tomorrow, so warmer, but we'll feel like we're in the 90s. Gradual sunshine coming our way. So you could say it's going to be a pretty nice day tomorrow. It's going to be summery though. It's going to be warm. It's going to be humid with some sunshine. Then we really crank the heat up Wednesday and Thursday, like I mentioned. Wednesday and even into Thursday, those heat indices around 100, give or take. Thursday thunderstorms possible in the afternoon and evening. More than likely they will happen. We'll just have to watch and see if those behave themselves, if those become strong to severe, because we're going to knock our temperatures down to 82 by the time we get into Friday with sunshine, and the humidity is going to come down, so it won't feel as muggy. Then look at that weekend. Is that not phenomenal? Mid-70s with sunshine, 77 and sunny for Father's Day. I'll tell you what, why don't you grill out for Dad? I know, unless Dad likes to grill out, unless he's the one that, hey, don't touch my grill, I'll do the cooking, that's cool. But other than that, you all just let him sit inside, watch whatever he wants to watch, or hang with the family and friends, and you do the cooking. Just saying. I'm not a dad, but I'm going to advocate for him. We love our moms. We love them very much. But we want to appreciate old Dad, too. Then if you like the heat, it's coming back next week. 83, partly cloudy on Monday, dry, and then 90, partly cloudy by the time we head into the day on Tuesday. So summer's, by the way, this is the last week of spring. Summer is on the way as we get into next week. So there we have it. Summer's coming finally. Remember in January when we got those 2 big snowstorms and we were all like, where is summer? Well, summer's here in all of its glory of 90s and heat and humidity and heat indices in the triple digits and what have you. So, all right. So I am going to be watching the radar. As a matter of fact, before we go, let's just go back together. Let's just take a look at radar and see where the storms are before I let you go, and then give you an update, of course, coming up at 10 o'clock tonight. I'll be in all night tonight watching these storms, and then Scott Sable's going to come in the middle of the night as well, and he's going to watch them and get you through the morning show as well. So we'll be here for a little bit together and kind of talk about what's going on. But right now, the storms are coming, but not seeing any of those storms congeal like right now. We're supposed to see some storms popping up over Erie and Huron County. Not saying that we couldn't see some, but I think there's still a ways back. So that's why I'm a little bit more confident that we'll see those storms in the western part of the viewing area sort of start to spike up around the midnight time frame. But I'm going to watch it nonetheless, because we can forecast to the cows come home, and then at times the weather's going to do what the weather's going to do. Right? So until then, until 10 o'clock, when I give you another update here and see if the model kind of corrects itself and what have you, then I'll pass it along to you. But just want to keep you updated. Just want to keep you informed. It's not hype. We've seen the storms really get their act together in the southern portions of the state and become severe and do some damage. And we're expecting the northern round back up towards Michigan do the same thing as well. I was thumbing through Twitter and I've already seen some damage reports coming out of Michigan as well. So we just want to keep you updated, keep you safe, especially this happening overnight when a lot of folks are going to sleep. So make sure you got your batteries, got things that you need in case the power goes out. Not saying that everybody's going to have a power outage, but just in case that happens, you want to be prepared as well. So take care, everybody. I'll see you at 10 o'clock.